Michele McKnight here on the All Day Vibe. It's Houston's culture and the evolution of KTSU 90.9. And it is a great day because it is Women Crushing It Wednesday. And you know what that means, friends. It means that I have a dope guest joining me here in studio. But before I introduce her, I have to say, I just very, very recently found out that October is not only Breast Cancer Awareness Month, it's also Domestic Violence Abuse Awareness Month as well, which, of course, that is the way we're bringing you in here today because this is what has led you into the work that it is that you do here in our city today, Dr. Conte. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And you yourself have had your own trials and experiences in an abusive relationship, which has kind of manifested itself into the work that it is that you do today with the organization that you have that helps women to overcome these situations. And so I kind of just want to talk to you a little bit about that, how your experience was, because everyone's experience in an abusive relationship is something different. A lot of people always, just want to put everybody and box everybody into the same situation. But it's very personal for you. So what was your own experience like, and how did you come out of that?
Well, you know what? That's a good way to start because everybody's experience is different. And because I had seen on the news and on, the billboards, if you had a black eye, if you had a busted nose, then you were being, was domestic violence. And I was like, that's not me. That's not me. At the time, I was a professional model. So what people don't realize is domestic violence is not your partner having an anger problem or mad when he's drinking or what have you. It's very intentional. So because I was modeling at the time, he never hit me in my face. So I never looked like what I thought domestic violence looked like. Now, did he throw me up against the wall? Yes. Throw me downstairs? Yes. Drug me by my hair? Yes. All of those things. And I don't have any biological children because the worst abuse was when I was 16 months pregnant, 16 weeks, 4 months pregnant, excuse me. He stomped me in my stomach. And so I lost my biological child that I was pregnant with at the time and have not been able to conceive at all since. So I was thinking, okay, this is not what I thought domestic violence was. I don't have a black eye. I don't have a busted lip. I have, didn't have broken bones, but I was being horrifically abused, and not just physically, verbally and emotionally.
And so in that situation, with that person that you were with, this was your husband.
Yes,
correct?
This is my husband.
You were in a marriage. Did love still play a part in that for you?
Oh my gosh.
Even though you knew that he was hurting you and abusing you physically, you obviously had a life of your own. You were modeling, successful in what it was that you were doing. But do you feel like that's still something that just tied you to the situation? Do you feel like it made it more difficult for you to be able to walk away from that?
Well, that and the fact that I was a Christian and I wanted the marriage to work. I just believed in marriage and I wanted it to work. And I had spoken with some my pastors, and this was many years ago. And thank God, many pastors are now saying differently, but they were like, you can work it out, you can pray about it. And so that's what I really thought. And on top of that, as I often tell people, the signs aren't prevalent in the beginning. If you got into a car with someone on your first date and they opened the door for you and they talked about how beautiful you were, and then you got to the first stop sign and they punched you or slapped you, you'd immediately jump out of the car. It's like that exercise that we did when we were in high school, that science project, you put the turtle or the frog in boiling water, it's going to leap out. But if you put a frog in water and you begin to rise the heat to a boil, the frog dies inside the water. And that's what happened. It was so beautiful. It was so wonderful. It was, now that I know the signs, it was love bombing, what I teach my clients and all of our participants at Fresh Spirit Wellness for Women, where the nonprofit that I founded as a result of my abuse, that's the love bombing. Everything is so wonderful. Everything is so great. The dinners, the trips, the gifts. And then later you start to see some subtle signs, and you're just having a bad day. You need to get over yourself, boy. You know what I'm saying? And it goes from one thing to another. So, and also different from me, is I assumed domestic violence was you got beat every day, you got beat every week, you got beat once a month. But of course, now being a domestic violence expert, I know that depends on the lethality of the individual, and it just depends. These abuses were horrific, but they were a couple of years would go in between. So I started trying to think, well, maybe he has his own business. Maybe it's during this time of the year, every other year or so. But yeah, maybe it's some problems at work or something. So, I just didn't think this was abuse.
Mm-hmm. And Dr. Conte, of course, we know it's several people that are in very similar situations.
Yes.
Still all significant to themselves. But I know that everyone has their breaking point where this is enough. And obviously, you got out of your situation, and then it brought you full circle into then helping women to tell their stories and remove themselves from that. So, of course, we'll get into that next year. We have Dr. Conte here all hour with us for Women Crushing It Wednesday. Happy that you are here. Make sure to keep those radios turned on and up right here to Houston's Culture. We are The Vibe, Evolution of KTSU 90.9. The Only Vibe, Houston's Culture, powered by KTSU 90.9. Michele McKnight here on another Women Crushing It Wednesday. And we have our special guest, Dr. Conte, who is here in the building. And we have been talking about domestic violence, being that October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, in addition to Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And your personal testimony with dealing with that, being in an abusive relationship, not really noticing the signs, what you stereotypically might see on TV that is defined as a domestic violence abusive situation. Kind of coming to realize that, hey, mine doesn't look exactly like this, but I'm still in a situation where this isn't
Absolutely.
Right. Something has to change. And what was that point for you where you were like, I have to get away from this?
It was a combination of things, but I just remember taking him somewhere. I was sick, and he made me get up and drive him somewhere. And remember, you have to remember that domestic violence is power and control. It's not about the physical abuse. So many people never get hit. It's that you can't go anywhere. You have to go when I say go, or you have to wear your hair a certain way, or isolate you from your family and your friends, and so many other different things. And so he was determined for me to do something that I didn't want to do, and I was sick. And so I did drive him there, and I was watching him walk to where he was going, and he walked away, and it was dark that night, and he kind of walked away into like the night, like into dark. And I thought, you know what, this is it. You just walked totally out of my life, and I'm never coming back. Because I had gone back, and we teach women that most women go back on an average of 7 times. And I had gone back many times, and I said, this is it. And I drove away that day knowing that no matter what, I wasn't going back. And I was afraid he would come back and try to find me and kill me. And he did try to find me, and he did hold me hostage and all types of things. But I was just determined. It was at the point where, okay, I'm going to die, then just go ahead and do it, because I can't live like this anymore.
And so how did you get to the point where you are now? Because I assume, but I'm hoping that you'll go into depth and actually tell me how you rid yourself of this person that really was just trying to cause you harm mentally, physically, emotionally.
Yes, absolutely.
All of the time. And how did that finally stop? Did he come to the realization? Did you have the authorities, that intervened in that process to then in turn have you where you now have an organization here in 2021 where you are helping other battered women in these situations?
Well, he did not finally come to a realization. One thing with abusers, they have this narcissistic attitude is that, they're never wrong. And so many women ask me, can they possibly change? And one of the reasons they can or don't or won't is because you first have to admit there's a problem. So no, he did not come to realization. Of course, the law had to get involved again. This was like many, many years ago. Fresh Spirit just turned 24 years old. We just had our 24th anniversary last week. So in September. Thank you. So it was many years ago, and the law wasn't as good as it is now about it. But it was very difficult. For me, I was fortunate. Again, I call myself the myth of domestic violence because I never saw abuse growing up. Never saw my father abuse my mom. My sisters and I we're all educated. We 2 doctors in the family, an accountant and an engineer. So I just was. I had support. One of the reasons I started Fresh Spirit is because I thought it had to be somebody from the other side of the track. You had to have seen this. I had all these things in my mind that there had to be. And I realized if it could happen to me, it can happen to anybody and everybody. And that's not the case. So it's not that you had to be, the particular person. It's no respect of persons. And so when I started Fresh Spirit, I intentionally wanted to be in a place where it was a upscale level of in the neighborhood, and because the other thing is I wouldn't have wanted to go to a shelter. My family was doing fine, and he and I were doing fine, and I had 4 or 5 places to live. I grew up in a 5-bedroom home. My bedroom right now is still there. So I wouldn't have gone to a shelter. So the whole thing about Fresh Spirit was to be able to give others that support. You may have not had the support that I have. You may have not known that you have other options and what it looked like. And so with everything that I went through, it was just nothing but I had no other choice but to start an organization to help other women.
And of course, everybody deserves a fresh start. And so if we have listeners, or maybe you have a friend or a family member, and you know that they're going through that, of course, Fresh Spirit is there to help you, because you do need to have a fresh start in that. So, of course, that's something that Dr. Conte is going to help you with. And we will talk about that coming up next here. So don't turn those radios. It is the All Day Vibe, Houston's Culture Evolution at KTSU 90.9 Women Crushing It Wednesday. Michele McKnight here on the All Day Vibe, Houston's Culture, powered by KTSU 90.9. It is Women Crushing It Wednesday. And friends, you can always nominate a woman influencer in the Houston area to come and be a guest on the show on our website, vibehouston.com. You can also email me directly, radiomichellemcknight@gmail.com, or respectfully slide into my DMs. And we have been talking to Dr. Conte here all hour long about domestic violence, her own experiences with it, the fact that October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and you also have an organization to help other women who have been in these situations overcome that, to have a fresh start. With a fresh spirit.
With a fresh spirit.
And so tell us, kind of what the process is with outreach with this group. I know you all have an event that's coming up as well to help women. But by all means, please go into detail.
Well, first of all, Fresh Spirit offers counseling. We have crisis counseling, individual counseling, and so, of course, domestic violence counseling. We offer case management. We offer legal advocacy, because many people don't know what to do to get a protective order, don't know that you can get crime victims compensation to relocate you, to move you. And unfortunately, everybody, Michelle, don't survive domestic violence. So also crime victim compensation, we help others pay for funerals for those who loved ones who didn't survive domestic violence. But we offer a lot of services that people don't know, safety plans, how to actually safely leave an abuser, because that's why so many people are killed. Being killed, the chances goes up 75% when you're leaving. So we want to make sure that you know how to leave safely. And the other thing that's astonishing is right now our women, the African American woman, the Black woman, we're being killed at a rate of 3 times higher than any other ethnicity, 3 times higher. So our service offers that culturally specific services for our people and our families that are going through domestic violence and family violence. And so we have an event that's coming up. It's our annual fundraiser. This year we're doing it virtually, so nobody from anywhere has any excuse. You can just hop on virtually. It is called the Iconic Woman Spirit of Excellence Award. Sip tea and mingle with me. And it's a virtual tea. Get your hats, get your tickets, and get on. Get your tea hats. Or tea hats, church hats, whatever floats your boat. And join us. It's October the 16th at 11:30, from 11:30 to 1. Our very special guest speaker is going to be Sabrina Greenlee, and she's the mother of DeAndre Hopkins. We all love DeAndre Hopkins here, and he's gone, but we're glad to have her, and she's going to be telling her testimony. Many people don't know that she is blind, and that she has a domestic violence powerful survivor story. So she'll be sharing that. And we're also going to be honoring your favorite female pastors and preachers in Houston and everywhere else. And that you can nominate them. They don't have to be in Houston, as well as first ladies. So we will be honoring them as our iconic women who've supported the organization and who are standing in the gap of domestic violence and saying, hey, we support you. Come on through. You can do this.
And you have a website?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. You can go to www.spiritofexcellenceaward.org. www.spiritofexcellenceaward.org to purchase your ticket, to donate, to nominate your female first lady or preacher or pastor.
Okay, and we're really happy, Dr. Conte, of course, that it is that you were able to come out of this experience and create a safe haven for women. Because, like what you said, everybody's situation and outcome, could end in a lot more tragic situations. So we are glad that you are providing that outlet for these women. Of course, if anyone would like to reach out to you directly, because sometimes people are not as confident coming and talking about their story and seeking any sort of guidance with that because they're scared to even open their mouths to have a voice in the first place. So if someone even wants to reach out to you directly, are they able to find you on social media?
Absolutely. On social media, I'm on all my handles are Dr. Conte Terrell. As you say, respectfully slide into my DM. Also, you can call 713-300-2473. That's the office, 713-300-2473. And the website for the organization is www.freshspirit.org.
Okay, and we will have all of that, of course, tagged to our Instagram as well, at The Vibe Houston. So go and follow us there, like that if you missed any of the interview or if you just want to go back and re-listen. So it can, release you from any sort of whatever it is that might be weighing you down right now. Of course, you can find that on our social pages as well, at The Vibe Houston. But thank you so much for stopping in, Dr. Conte. Good luck with everything. Good luck with the event that is coming up here on the 16th.
Thank you.
Of course, again, we will have that information at The Vibe Houston. And again, friends, if you would ever like to nominate a woman to be a guest here for Women Crushing It Wednesday, you can always do so on our website, vibehouston.com.